What's up, everybody? You're listening to episode 16 of Just Breathing with Laud Lungs. This is a special Thanksgiving edition. I don't know if it'll actually come out on Thanksgiving. We'll see. We'll see what tomorrow looks like. This will either be a special Thanksgiving or belated Thanksgiving edition.
One or the other.
Of the Just Breathing with Laud Lungs podcast. Yeah. So what's new in your life, Brittany?
Well,
Wife?
I'm enjoying this drink and it's making me a little bit tired. So I probably shouldn't have started drinking it. That's what's new with me right now.
Wow. That is extremely recent. That's extremely recent, extremely relevant to the world as it turns. So I think it's only fitting that because this is Thanksgiving, that we focus on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And we definitely have plenty to talk about in terms of that. We definitely have plenty to talk about in terms of things that we're grateful for, things that, man, I mean, we did this past Sunday at church, just kind of went over, in place of the sermon, we just went over all of the things that God has done at our church, at the school at the church. It's been incredible the way in which we've been able to really not even manage through this whole pandemic, through this whole craziness that is 2020, but we've really been able to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you want to go listen to that sermon, that's at Riverview Christian. You can watch that. It's called Unbelievable is the name of the sermon, because it really was. I mean, someone said it on Sunday. They were like, this is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that have happened, it doesn't even seem real. It seems like we made it up. It's a storybook type year.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it's been tough. There's definitely been a lot of emotional, mental struggles that have had to be had with the pastors, the staff of the church and the school. Just kind of, what do we do? How do we deal with this? The balance between, making sure we're not oppressed.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of our governors seem inclined to push in that direction, but also be safe.
Yeah.
We, especially at the beginning of this whole thing, man, it was so difficult to know what to do.
Oh, well,
I mean, we were having long meetings at the church, like, how do we, move people through the building? How do we, we didn't stream as a church online.
Right. Until all this.
Yeah, until this. And we started on my cell phone.
That's right.
We started streaming on my cell phone to Facebook and then kind of built from there. But so it's definitely not been without struggle and without a huge learning curve.
But you know what? You know what I was thinking of actually just yesterday was how it takes times like these for us to look to God for his help and for his faithfulness. Yeah. And if we continue looking, we find it and we see it. And I mean, I shouldn't say that's always, but that's been my experience. Like, if you just continue to wait, even if it's now in this circumstance, it's just months for our church during COVID. But like in my life in the long run, when I've gone through hard times and I've just trusted and looked to the Lord, I have seen him be faithful, whether it was years or months or weeks or days. You get to see him be faithful. And that doesn't mean that you get whatever it was you were hoping for or wishing for, but you see his goodness. Yeah. And
it's long periods that God makes us wait sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But
and you know what's cool though? And I thought of this there was one family in our church, the husband needed a kidney. And I thought that the two coolest things that came out of that is we've been praying for over a year for him to either find a match or for the kidneys to just heal.
Right, be cured.
I mean, we're definite believers in miracles. We're definite believers in healing, a supernatural type of healing. And it's not weird. It's in our Bible, so we believe it. Other people believe things that they read too, so not that weird. But so we were praying for a year, and honestly, the condition just kept getting worse. I mean, it got to the point where this year he was put on dialysis at home, and it was getting real bad. But then in November 4th, the day after the election, he got a kidney.
Amen. Yeah.
And that's definitely the peak of all of the cool stuff that has happened this year. There's a lot of like superficial stuff that the church had been wanting to do, the school had been wanting to do, and the funds just came in that we had to use.
Right.
It was so cool in that way. But this human miracle that took place, with this guy being able to get a kidney was unbelievable. And I love learning about the whole kidney donation system through this whole thing too, because he wasn't able to get, so what ended up happening was his wife gave a kidney, but she couldn't give directly to him.
That's what was taking so long.
Yeah. So she had to give to this matching system where, how many people were involved?
I think it was like 10.
Yeah, so 10 people had to all be giving a kidney, and all of them had to be healthy during this process of donating a kidney. So she gave a kidney, and then that kidney was given to this person and that person, and they match it up in this amazing matrix. So Ross got a kidney. His wife gave a kidney in order for him to receive one, which is incredible. So maybe it's three things. One, just the sacrificial nature that was displayed through his wife, giving literally of her own body to save her husband. Awesome. Him getting a kidney, amazing.
Yeah, answered her prayer.
But one of the coolest things that I didn't know about was that there was 4 people that we knew about in our church that went through either the preliminary process or like the full process of finding out if they could be a kidney donor.
Yeah.
So these aren't people related to this guy. These aren't people that maybe were even that close in friendship to him.
Right.
They were just brothers and sisters in Christ. They were just fellow churchgoers.
Right.
But they went through a process to see if they could give of their own bodies to this guy. How cool is that?
It's so awesome.
It blows my mind just because our world is so negative. And this year has just been filled with such negativity that to hear stories like that, that's countercultural.
Right.
Now, it shouldn't be. It should be the norm. It should be what we're doing for each other.
Yeah.
In this country, in our churches, in our neighborhoods, in our,
I think that one of the major things that I've been learning, and it's going off of what you said, just through this whole time, what God has been teaching me is his sovereignty. And faith is not easy, and I don't think it ever will be. But when we, like those people, when we are just willing to say yes to the Lord, we can be confident that he's sovereign and that he has it and that he's good. Like, even when it doesn't turn out the way we think it should turn out, for them, it turned out wonderful. Praise God. And sometimes it doesn't turn out that way, but we can depend on God's goodness.
Yeah.
And not always, but I feel like God usually lets us see that.
Yeah.
He lets us see at least a glimpse of it.
Well, honestly, wasn't looking good for this situation.
No.
It did end up being great. And a miracle took place, and the medical field, our wonderful healthcare system, and I'm going to say that, our wonderful healthcare system that allows for these types of innovations to take place for all of these people to receive kidneys. Incredible. But honestly, this year, I was definitely preparing myself for the worst, but hoping for the best at the same time, because like you said, I've seen God come through.
Yeah.
And that's such an important thing to really grasp. It's those small times that God has been faithful, or those small times that God has provided, that give us hope and give us something to cling on to for something harder.
Yeah.
For something bigger, for something that, man, maybe is just filled with a lot more doubt.
Right.
And that kind of was this situation, to be completely honest. It had just been so long.
Yeah.
And he was getting worse and worse this entire year. He was coming to church, which was awesome. But
that's amazing.
Even near the end, he wasn't able to. He was watching from home just because he felt so awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I held out hope because of the goodness that I had seen before.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah,
I think
that definitely pulls you through.
I think you got to hold on to those moments when you get them, because I feel like you have to remember those times when things don't work out the way that you planned.
That too.
To be able to know that even though we don't get it, that God is going to use that somehow.
Yeah. That's the flip side, right?
Right.
There are times that you walk through that don't work out, but those are also beneficial to your life because you had to wrestle a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Afterwards. You had to be like, I don't get it.
Right.
Teach me why.
and sometimes you still don't get it.
Right. And sometimes you still don't get it.
I think my biggest hope, I always talk about this because it's such an encouragement to me in this weird way. But I always look at Jesus and how he was crucified, and it just is so awful. Yeah. It's so awful, but God turned that around and has now saved my life and millions of others. It's just so amazing.
Right. We don't really look at the fact that God took the worst circumstance,
the absolute worst. You can't get any worse than holy, righteous, perfect, wonderful, beautiful, loving God being killed by evil people, us.
Right.
And then turning it around to save those evil people who killed him, us. Right. And it's just wow.
Yeah. So wherever you're at, whatever situation you're in, however good you feel like you are, and all of these people are coming at you, or life is just attacking you right now, Jesus felt it.
Yeah.
And that is the gospel. Jesus was perfect, but felt your pain.
Yeah.
Jesus was perfect, but was rejected. Jesus was perfect, but they killed him.
Yes. Yes.
And that is the gospel. That is the good news of Jesus Christ. And it's incredible.
I just have to say, so these are just things that go through my head on a regular basis when I think about Jesus and his death and resurrection, because sometimes, all the time we're dealing with hard things that happen, and the questions that go through our head are repetitive. Why did God let this happen? And why doesn't God just take this guy out? Why doesn't God just stop certain things?
Yeah.
And I have to remember that when he died, we often think, he died for, those poor people who are being victimized, or for whatever bad thing, happen to you maybe,
Right.
or someone. You're just like, why doesn't God do something? But then you have to remember that he is on the cross dying for that person who is being the bad guy. I can't think of a better word.
Yeah.
But the person who's doing something evil to someone else.
Right.
To someone, who didn't do anything to deserve this person doing something awful. They died for that act. And it's just like, oh wow. It's like, okay, that's why.
Yeah.
God loves, even though we can't see it because it's so awful to us. God died for that person too, along with the person who's being, something awful too.
Yeah.
And just to remember that, like, that's his patience, that's his loving patience, hoping that his saving grace will be able to save that person too. And I don't know what made me go there, but I'm just in awe. Like,
I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
So we can continue on the the road of gratitude. That is something to continuously be grateful for.
It's so beautiful. The
perfect.
cross of Jesus just never gets old.
Yeah.
Doesn't get old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so that's some incredible stuff that's happened in our church. That's some incredible stuff that's happened, at the school there. And I mean, I work part-time for there. That's why I'm bringing this up. It's not random. I've been a part of it, and it's just awesome to see. And this is part of my 2020. But here at home, 2020 has been a great year.
It's been amazing.
And I know it's been such a difficult year for a lot of people. And I definitely want to fight for those people. Because there's definitely a fight to be had in terms of
right. You don't want to. We're not ignoring those who really have been suffering.
No, and I'm thinking of both. There's a huge death toll to this virus because it's real, and it is scary for some people. It is scary for certain groups. I'm really thinking of just the small businesses, though. It's hard not to be furious, if I'm being honest, with the actions taken at a federal level and a state level, and that are. I mean, we're seeing it tomorrow. I mean, we're getting texts on our phones about COVID the day before Thanksgiving. It's not random. They want us to stay inside. They want us to stay away from extended family. They want us to stay away from friends. Just, do Thanksgiving alone this year. COVID's real. It's like, no dip, Sherlock. We know we've gone through 10 months now of these lockdowns that was supposed to be 15 days. Yeah. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting to a point where, and I do see people starting to say, screw you.
Yeah.
Screw you, governor. Screw you.
Right.
Whoever's making these mandates. And I think it's coming from a really good place, honestly.
I don't know if I agree with that all the way. And sometimes.
No. I'm not talking about the government.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the people that are saying, screw you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, you're still focused on them. I'm talking about the people that are saying, no.
Right.
You know why? Because
they're not doing it to, I think they're just saying we have to survive. Like,
but they're not even saying that. They're saying we can be responsible for our own lives.
Yeah.
And this is something that I don't think we really realize that we're in a fight for it first, because it's never been this open. We've definitely been in a fight against, like we talked in the last episode about liberty and freedoms and the fight that needs to happen to regain the mantra of, liberty in the United States. But it's never been this open that there's an attack on our liberties. And it's weird. I don't think a lot of Americans, especially early on, I know myself, I was completely for the lockdowns. I was completely for being safe, and all that we did because we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. And a 2-week period sounds pretty reasonable.
We were given a time period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that time period got frog leaped.
Right.
And
yeah, I don't know.
Light's flickering a little bit. It's a little
Wind?
weird.
Maybe it's windy outside.
Maybe. I don't know. The government knows I'm talking about them. I'm sorry.
We do have our phones near us.
Oh my goodness.
No, don't do that.
There was a message on my phone. I was like, whoa.
Okay, that would have been creepy.
That would have been real creepy. We hear you talking about us, Jason.
Do you know? Okay, so little distraction here. So I find it creepy on our phones, our new phones now, that like when we are recording something or whenever you like talk to Siri, that like little light at the top goes on.
Oh yeah.
And that just like unsettles me a little bit because I feel like they're just like taking liberties to look at me. Even though I know that it's all in my head, but I still don't like it.
No, I don't like it either.
Because I'm always like, is someone looking at me right now? Like, am I being like monitored?
Yeah, as you're recording on your phone, they're just like, let's see what Brittany's doing.
Let's just make sure she's staying in place here.
No, I haven't looked it up fully, but I'm pretty sure it's letting you know that a device that can have video capabilities is being used.
Okay.
So I think it's more of like, well, this is what they say. I think it's more of like a privacy-based thing. So it's letting you know you're using an app that has like these capabilities.
Oh, okay.
So that if someone wanted to hack
so
your
that
phone
maybe they
through the
are
app,
looking at me. Someone might be looking at you right now. We just want to put a little light up there to let you know.
Yeah, I could be completely making that up, but I'm pretty sure that's what I heard regarding that light. Because a lot of people were like, no.
Yeah, it's
what is this?
But it's funny too, because I'm sure that if someone actually wanted to do that, they could just do it. They wouldn't have to they wouldn't be putting on a little light in my phone.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Smart people are the ones that use those, like those
flip phones.
Well, yeah. A lot of people are going back to it. A lot of people that have like social media addictions or, other type of addictions to their phone are going to flip phones.
Yeah.
I think they're making new models of flip phones.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a smart move.
It's funny because like thankfully I don't have a phone addiction, but like now that I have a smartphone, I really like it because I can like in a waiting room or wherever I am, I can like delete old emails or I can like get something done and not just like sit there.
Yeah.
Even though I'm that kind of person who's totally fine to just sit there and have quiet with my thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is nice.
It's also nice to be productive.
It is nice to be productive.
It is. That's me. I'm like, I gotta do something. That's why I'm totally the person in a waiting room that like finds the magazine that looks interesting and like actually reads it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't even like just look through the pages. I'm like, well, I might as well learn something.
Oh, that's so funny. I wish that I was a little bit more like that. I can sit in a waiting room. Now I don't because I have my phone, so I will be doing something, getting something done. But like before that, I was pretty much okay to just sit there and like breathe.
Well, it's okay, Brittany,
and like
just breathe.
And I would like, if thoughts came to my mind that I wasn't okay with, I would think about them and kind of sort through them.
Yeah.
And I'd be praying. Yeah. That's just my personality.
Waiting rooms are so weird right now. I'm so glad that I haven't had to go to a lot of them.
But you don't actually have to wait in waiting rooms very much anymore. You wait in your car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
or if you go into a waiting room, they do like timed things. They're not like they're trying to make sure you're not like a bunch of people in a room waiting.
So I haven't been to the pediatrician.
Oh yeah, kids. Yeah, you don't even go in. You sit in the car when you arrive. You call. You call them,
then
they say we either come in or we'll call you when we're ready for you.
So you just sit there until they're ready.
You sit there in your car.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah,
COVID.
It's not good when you have to go to the bathroom or your kids have to go to the bathroom. Oh, and you're not supposed to bring any more than one other child, which I didn't realize that the first time.
Yeah.
That I brought all 3 of my kids. That was awful.
It doesn't make any sense.
Because they were like, you are not allowed to bring all 3 of your children.
Listen to science, Brittany.
And I was like, well, there's no one else at my house.
Yeah.
So
what am I to do?
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And now in their defense, they said that they told me on the phone that I was only, but I don't remember that. So they could have, but I really truly don't remember. So I brought all 3. I didn't think I had to have a babysitter.
Yeah.
I was really not happy, but
yeah,
I tried to be respectful.
That's good. That's very good. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I got us off track.
No, it's fine. I'm just like, I'm stopping myself because I could just go down this.
Let's talk about Thanksgiving.
I know. I want to get off because I could just be frustrated all day long.
I have lots to give thanks about.
Yeah, but there's so many things to give thanks for right now. There's so many things. And honestly, gratitude is the best attitude to have right now because people are so negative. You know, if you could just inspire one person with your gratitude for life.
Yeah.
It'll have such ripple effects, because I think so many people we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about like the good things that have happened in 2020. Like I know every conversation starter I have is like, this is a crazy year, right?
I know. You know what's hard though too is like, so it's almost hard though sometimes to like be thankful in front of other people because you almost feel like you're being rude. Because you're like,
that's true.
You know, because like they might be going through a really hard time, and I don't want to. You
don't know,
and you don't know,
right?
So you don't want to be like that person who's like, oh yeah, you might have had a relative who just died, but I'm doing great. Like, you know, like that. Yeah. That feels not to say this year hasn't had its struggles. It has, but
is that? I think you're right, and I think you should always be sensitive of that. But then I'm also going to make a statement right after this that contradicts that same statement. Are we conditioned to be sensitive to that? Like, do you think there's something to the way that media and social media and, I don't know, a lot of the communication that we're getting right now is just pointing us to the fact that a lot of people are struggling. Mm-hmm. And it's pointing us to the fact that a lot of people are going through a really tough time. It's a hard year for a lot of people. We're seeing it on like every ad and commercial that you see. It's like, this has been a hard year for a lot of Americans.
Yeah. I think
this has been a hard year. You know, do you think that has crept into our minds that like, is it bad? This is the question. Is it bad for us to tell people about all the amazing things happening in our life?
No, it's not. It's not. I've seen it done and done well, and it should. And it is actually an encouragement to say those things, as long as you're not doing it in like a pompous way,
right?
You know. But if you're like, if someone is discouraged, because something happened, you don't want to just ignore that. You want to make sure they're okay. But then, you know, if that's not the case, or if you have an opportunity, you can say, well, this is what God has been doing in my life. Like, he is good. He is faithful. Like,
yeah.
Because even for us, like, there have been things that we've had to overcome or struggle through or work through or pray through. And then we've seen the end of it. And we can praise God.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is an encouragement, and I shouldn't have that attitude. And
it is hard though.
But yeah.
I totally do the same thing though. I totally, in every conversation I have on the phone, you know, I'm just, oh, how's your year going? Crappy too? You know,
because there's always going to be negative. We could always focus on the negative.
We can. And like, I feel like I definitely believe that, like I have believed that it's helpful in some way. Like it almost like puts me on that person's level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it really does. Like, what if we start with how awesome this year has been and all the things we're grateful for and the amazing stories that we have to tell from this year.
If we focused on the good more often, we wouldn't be so, our problems wouldn't be so big.
Yeah.
I think we look at our problems so much that they start to grow and then it pushes all the good things to the side and we don't even notice them.
Yeah, that's what I think might be happening. I think that might be the norm that doesn't have to be the norm. You know, I think that, yeah, I'm going to try and change that. I'm going to try and start some conversations a little more positively.
I think something I read this past week that has been sticking in my mind, and I can't remember what psalm it is now. Maybe it's like 149 or something. I don't know. But in it like the first verse says something like, I'm going to butcher it, but something like, give praise to the Lord. Bring him his praises or something like that. But the way that the second line reads is like, it's like all the praises that you have, they're for him.
Right.
So like, bring it to him. Like, don't give someone else credit.
Or yourself credit.
Don't give yourself credit. Don't forget to praise, and the praise goes to him.
Yeah.
And I just like, it was just the first line of that psalm. And I'm like, that's so powerful. Like, not only as Christians are we supposed to be rejoicing and praising the Lord, any praises we have, they're a blessing from him. Like the praises go back to him. Like we better darn be praising his name.
Right.
And I just think that's powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always trying to teach the kids that like all the blessings that we have, sometimes they look like they're from other people or they're of our own work. But I'm like, all these things
you can trace it all.
You can trace it back to the Lord. Like we have good jobs because we are healthy and he's given us these jobs.
Right.
Like we could be ill and not be able to work.
Yeah.
Or we could be healthy and have a crap job and not be able to pay our bills. Like, yeah, we're just, there's so many blessings and they all those praises go to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. So I'm trying to think.
I don't know. I got us off track again.
No. That verse actually, that stuck out to me when we read it. Just the fact that we should be praising continually, you know, that really stuck out to me.
Oh yeah. Was it sing a new song to the Lord? Was that the first part of it?
I don't remember the last couple Psalms, like 149 through the end, was kind of all praise Psalms.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was all these sort of iterations of
right before Thanksgiving too, which is pretty cool.
And, yeah.
Because we didn't start it at the first of the year, so it's not like they timed it on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it just is timely.
It fell right on there. That's cool. Yeah, that's really
Praise
cool.
God for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really neat.
So wait, while we're on that same scripture, I might as well just say this one too. Okay. So verse 4 of that 149, I guess it is, or somewhere around there, it says, I'm going to forget all the words because I didn't memorize it. But it says something like, the Lord is pleased with his people.
Yeah.
And he will beautify the afflicted ones with his salvation. And I've been thinking
you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking of that verse since I read it because it's just so like, it's so powerful. And like, I think it's, and I don't, like sometimes you read a verse and you feel like you really get it, even though there might be more to learn. But like when I read that, it's just so beautiful and I can't grasp it yet. It's just too much for me because I'm like, first of all, it says he's pleased. Like his people are pleasing to him or something like that. And I'm like, okay, wait, when? Like, is that before or after you beautify us with salvation? Because we're very hard to be like, I just feel like it's very hard for us to be pleasing to you, Lord. And, it's just such a beautiful verse. Like he is pleased. This is what I got out of it. I don't know if this probably means a lot more than this, but he's pleased with us because he made us and he loves us and he did give us salvation. And he's pleased when we're praising him because the whole psalm is about praises.
Yeah.
So he's pleased among his people who are praising his name. And he greatly desires to beautify us because we're ugly, we're sinful, but to beautify us with salvation. And I love how he calls us the afflicted ones. Like it almost is like he's not looking down on us like, oh, these stupid people, even though we are. He's like, my afflicted ones, I'm going to beautify them with salvation. And you're just like, oh my goodness. So amazing.
Yeah.
That verse is enough to just praise his name.
Yeah.
That he would want to be among us and that he would want to beautify us with salvation.
Yeah.
And the way he looks at us.
Yeah. No, it is cool. It is 149.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. 149 verse 4.
Yeah. It's a cool verse.
Yeah.
It's a cool verse. So what are some other things that we have to be thankful for? I mean, like you said, our health, like you were just mentioning that, the fact that we haven't had a single person in our family get COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in our extended family. We have friends that have gotten COVID.
Yeah, we have friends.
But I don't know anybody in our extended family that had it. And
or at least didn't test for it positively.
Right,
they might have gotten it and then thought it was like a bad cold.
Maybe a lot of us have had it, but we just didn't know. We haven't had a single person at our church have COVID.
That's amazing.
Like
I thought that we did in the very beginning, and then they got better. But
who?
Well, no, I can't say it now.
You don't have to say who. No.
But I'm
off the podcast. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
because I don't think so.
Because I remember praying for this person.
There was family members of people in our church that had COVID.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. We'll talk about it later. But I thought it was one of the people that come.
Oh, okay.
No, and they weren't coming at the time because we weren't even at meeting then. We were just doing the.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. No, they never had it.
Oh.
They just tested for it and they had to quarantine.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, praise God.
Yeah. See, we've had a couple friends that have actually had it.
Yeah.
We've had some friends that have had to quarantine for 2 weeks because they've been exposed.
Right.
But I think they tested and came back negative.
Yeah.
So,
and luckily the friends that we did know who got it, they're okay. So praise God for that.
And most of them are young and there wasn't a lot to worry about, but it's still something to give thanks for.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely grateful that I haven't had to walk through that with anybody, especially I have grandparents. Like I'm so blessed to have, I've only lost one grandparent.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like I only lost my mom's dad.
Okay.
So far. So I still have my dad's parents and I still have my mom's mom. Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And I was definitely worried about them. I mean, we've seen them through this pandemic and stuff because they're not too fearful of this whole thing, but still worried about them.
Yeah.
But no one's been touched by it. So that's something that's
a praise.
Super, super awesome. A lot of stuff has been just amazing to see this year. So one thing that's been really cool is the fact that I started teleworking.
Yes, it's been such a blessing.
And it's been awesome.
It's been such a blessing.
So I know like some people have definitely struggled with it because either their kids are more crazy than our kids.
Right.
Maybe it's
and if they're doing school from home.
Right.
And you're trying to work and they're trying to do school and they have questions and I can see that being really hard.
I know it's been hard. I think that's been one of the hardest things, is the closing of the schools because
I can't imagine.
Again, you're hurting
families.
People's ability to work.
Mm-hmm.
And they have daycares, but not everybody can pay to put their kid in.
Daycares are expensive.
Right. Put their kid in daycare to do school. Like that's the craziest part. But
that makes me sick to think about
Yeah. But teleworking for us has really worked.
Yeah.
And it's been so cool because I've been able to be home with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this year has taught, I think, a lot of businesses that have been able to migrate to teleworking. It's taught a lot of them that there's not a whole lot of need for us to be in the office.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of need for these workers to take up this big space that I believe my job is leasing.
Yeah.
I don't even think they own that building.
It's almost like one of those things where you could it might be better to have like maybe half the size or a quarter of the size building for a lot of these companies.
Yeah.
For the people who because like maybe you do better getting out of your house.
Yeah.
And going somewhere. I feel like that is better for some people. And then for other people, it's not better. Like they feel and are healthier in their house.
There's still like a remnant of workers that go to the office.
Okay.
So there's still people in that building, but like I said,
like you feel better because you get to stand up now.
Well, and I could have probably put in for something like that at work.
Okay.
But I probably would have been too lazy to.
Yeah.
If I was still in the office. But yeah, I got one of those standing desks, so I feel so much healthier.
Yeah, I feel like your back doesn't hurt as much now.
No, it really doesn't.
So that's a blessing. Praise God.
That's a blessing. Yeah, and financially, I mean, we've been great this year.
Yeah.
I mean, we've paid off
and
vehicles.
It's so surprising too. Like we wouldn't think so. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, we've paid off vehicles. Mm-hmm. We've been able to put money into savings for future house projects, which if you own a home, you always have to put money away for future house projects. I don't know what other things have really happened personally for us this year.
Well,
go ahead.
I can just go through like a quick list that comes to my mind quickly. Yeah. When this all went down, like super beginning in the year, we were thinking of whether we should homeschool or wait one more year and I would work extra.
Oh, right. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
And I really didn't know. And I really was leaning towards I'll work a lot. I'll work really hard this year.
Right.
And send him to public school and then the other kids to pre-K counts. And then all this went down. And like, you can't explain it, but it was just such clarity that God gave me. And I knew like everything, it made sense.
Yeah.
It worked out better. And I just knew that, no, I was supposed to homeschool.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a relief to know that like, I don't have to drop off the kids, pick up the kids, go to work every day. Cause I would have went Monday through Friday and then still had to like do all the cleaning up and all the kid care and just, I guess what most people do, right? Yeah. I guess I can't, most people are doing that. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot of work. It doesn't matter if other people do it. It's a lot of work.
Right. But I was just so thankful because that would have been so much travel. I wouldn't have been with the kids as much.
Especially because you work a half hour from our house, but
I would have had to go opposite direction to drop the kids off.
You would have to go 20 minutes, the opposite direction.
So I would have,
and then back 45 minutes to work.
Right.
Every day.
And then back to get the kids and then back home.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's a lot.
It would have been a lot of travel and I know that I would have been exhausted because that's not the only work I do. Like I volunteer as like staff at, one organization and do volunteer work at our church. And those are all things that like, I don't want to give up, I could, but I feel like I'm supposed to be there. And so, yeah, that's just been such a blessing. And then to go a little further.
We'll say what happened then
with work.
Yeah. So what?
So I didn't even put this together. That wouldn't have worked anyway. But, so things happened. We were praying about a lot of stuff and things happened that I wasn't sure if maybe I would have to take some time off from work. But then I felt like God just kind of released me because then my work was like, you know what? We want someone to be here like 5 days a week and work a certain amount of hours. And I was like, I just can't do that. I can't do that while homeschooling Brom.
Right.
And not that I wanted to do that anyway. I wanted to homeschool Brom. So then now I'm per diem. And like God has blessed you with the amount of money to be able to like just still support us. And it's just been such a blessing. And I feel like God's timing is so perfect. I just have to praise his name because when that happened, it was perfect timing for me to say yes. Like I didn't feel guilty saying, yes, I'm just going to go to per diem.
Yeah.
Because God had worked it out that if I would have said, no, I'm going to work more, it just wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think we could have done it.
Yeah.
We just couldn't have done it. And so, yeah, it was just perfect. And I had been kind of praying about that because I did already feel overwhelmed. And I felt like God was just like, I know you're overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going I'm going to help you out. Because I feel like God has said, I want you to do such and such and such and such things. And so I've said, yes, 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 and yes. And now I'm like, I'm spread too thin. And he was like, I know, I have a plan on that. Like, and it's just been really cool to see God do that.
And I just sat silently and said nothing. It'll all work out. And it did.
It did.
It is true though. Because you get these things in your head and I'm just like, okay. Because I know there's no arguing with you. Like you get something like, well, I gotta make this amount of money so we can save for this. And then that way this thing can happen and then the world can keep turning. And I'm like, okay. And I mean, I've always been okay with you. Like if you ever felt like, I can't do this job anymore, I don't want to do this job anymore, then don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and not that we would have been more financially stable without it, but I knew that God would provide. And that's just a blanket statement, but I knew that, you know, I was doing okay in my job. I knew that was secure for right now. You know, I've been working part-time at the church. I'd been working on other projects. So I knew that there were other things that we could pour ourselves into if that's what you felt.
Yeah.
And I trust us. You know, we've been through a lot already in our marriage. Talk about, you know, things to hold on to that God has done in the past. It's the same thing in relationships.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a good, healthy marriage, when you go through something, hold on to those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're going to go through more.
Yeah.
And we've only been going through this for 6 years.
7
years.
That's okay. It's going to be 8 soon.
Yeah. 7 years. 6 was just so significant to me. You know, I cherished it really.
Okay. You can stop. I'm not upset that you said 6 years.
Yeah. 7 years. That, you know, like I said, we've gone through a lot. I've been able to hold on to certain things, that mistakes that we've made, ways that we failed and overcame.
Yeah.
So that now, you know, we got to this work situation. I'm like, we got it.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because we were okay back then.
Yeah.
You know,
it's cool. It is cool. It's cool to see, like, yeah, I feel like we definitely just grow every year because of the things we go through. But it's also cool to see God's sovereignty, even in that. Like, you know, we're trying to be as faithful as we can, and God is like, I know that you don't know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And I know that you're trying. I'm going to help you.
And then having kids is like Miracle Grow.
Yeah.
You just like, boom, you know, Geopet style grow.
I don't know if it looks like that. It looks more like you fall on your face on the ground again and again and again, and God just keeps helping you stand back up.
But eventually, eventually you start putting like one hand out as you hit your face, and then you just put the other one out, and sometimes you catch yourself, and I'm
starting to get better at catching myself from hitting my face into the floor. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that was another major change, but awesome benefit to our lives.
Yes.
Having that, like, I knew as soon as, like, you came home and you were like, hey, my supervisor said that they're looking for someone to fill my position.
Yeah.
Like, I could almost see relief on your face.
I was so relieved.
You know, which that's not something that most people would be relieved about, but it's what you needed.
Yeah.
You know, most people be like, crap, someone's replacing my position.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, thank goodness. You know, because
so true.
Now, this is totally your personality, but someone made the decision for you. Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to.
Because so just a little snippet into my brain. This is like my conversation with God, right? I'm like, okay, Lord, this is what I believe is the most prudent of choices. And I'm like, I feel like this is the wisest choice.
Yeah.
And I will work myself to the bone unless you intervene, because I feel like if I do anything different than this, that it won't be wise and that's not the right choice.
Yeah.
And so God was like, okay, I know you're crazy. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to help you out.
He has to look at us and be like, what is wrong with you?
He looks down on me and he's like, oh, my afflicted one. I'm going to beautify you with salvation. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What are some other things that we're thankful for in 2020? Man, there's so many things. So many things.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to I'm trying to avoid I'm so thankful for my kids.
Yeah, right.
And my wife and my health. And for peace.
I don't know if we can say that.
Yeah, we can't really say that. It's been a very not peaceful year.
There is so much more, but you can only go so personal, right?
Right. It's true.
Oh,
that's true. But a lot of those things are tied together. You know, a lot of the amazing things that we've seen in other people's lives and in our church and our lives, it's all kind of interconnected too, because it's all part of our life. So it really all rolls together. But I do believe though that this is something that we need to live more than one day a year.
Yeah.
And I think it does kind of come to that sometimes. And I don't know why.
Well, one thing I was thinking, actually, as we just started this podcast, I was thinking this, so I'm going to say it out loud because maybe that'll help me do it. But I want to start I don't want to call it a journal because I'm actually not good at keeping a journal.
Yeah, I hate journals.
Yeah, I don't like journals. But I feel like I have seen, I'm only 29, but I've seen God do so many amazing things in my life, in our life. And in the lives of our church, I'm like, why am I not recording this?
Yeah,
I feel like I really need to start recording this. And then I always get discouraged to not record it because I'm like, well, I already didn't record all these years before that. Now I forget half of those things. Yeah. But I'm like, why don't I just
journals?
What's that?
I said baby journals.
Oh my goodness, I'm so bad at the baby journals.
I'm not condemning you. I didn't do it.
It's awful. I wish that I could just be better at journaling. Yeah. But anyway, that is something that I would like to do. And what a better year than 2020.
True.
I should start it. I should start it this year before it's too late.
We should start New Year's resolutions now.
Yeah,
just get a jump on 2021 because we need that.
Yeah.
We need a huge jump start.
Yeah.
Because 2020 has just annihilated some people. And they need to start early.
Yeah.
Let's get a 2-month head start.
Yeah.
Let's go.
For real.
Get up, start working out, start being more grateful for your life.
Yep.
Let's go.
It's true.
I think that's a good plan. And I think that's something that I should start too. So maybe we can do that together.
It can be like our family one. We can make a document because I feel like if I have to write it down, I won't do it. I almost feel like I have to type it.
That's a good idea. We have that available.
And then we can both share it.
We could do that every day. Just put something down on there.
Or every day. Or just if something significant happens, we have to write it down.
We should do it every day though.
Okay, every day.
Because if you don't do it every day,
you'll forget.
You'll forget.
Okay, so
that's what I noticed.
We can do it after our quiet time.
That works. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Or dinner or something.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Whatever time we remember to do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't get too rulesy with it because it won't work. We gotta be more grateful. I was really excited to see Jordan Peterson is a guy that I've really looked up to, and he just recently went through this big drug ordeal where he was on these antidepressant drugs. I don't even know what they were. But I guess you're not supposed to go cold turkey off of them.
Wait, is this recent or did this happen?
This happened
a little bit ago?
A year ago.
Okay.
yeah, of course, right before all of this happened, when we could really use
him,
an amazing intellectual like himself. Yeah, so he went cold turkey off of these drugs, and it annihilated him. I mean, he was in hospitals for, I don't know, like 10 months, something like that. Like, he went to like people in Florida, people in Canada. They flew him over to Siberia.
I feel so bad for him.
To like go to some special doctor that said he could fix him. Well, he got COVID over there. He got like double pneumonia. He got like all of this stuff he went through, but he's back, and he put out a couple videos already, just kind of getting into the swing of being, I don't know if he's fully recovered, but better.
Yeah.
And he just put out a video recently announcing his new book.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's really
What's
cool.
What's it called?
It's called,
my throat just made it.
Is that your throat? It sounded like a Star Wars character. I hope that's in the recording.
That was my throat.
That's totally in the recording.
I was like sitting here and I felt that happen and heard it, and I was like, oh my goodness, that just went into the microphone.
I'm totally boosting that in the post.
No, don't do that. Everyone's going to be like, let's watch this episode and hear Brittany's Star Wars character in her throat.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic. But anyway, I forget what it's called Beyond something. Maybe it's because
To Infinity and Beyond?
No. His first book was 12 Rules for Life. Goodness gracious. But this is like, I don't know if it's beyond 12 rules for life, but it's something like another 12 rules for life. It's out there. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and wherever. But I'm excited for it because one of he kind of read the sort of overture in the beginning that sort of went through the kind of
like a summary,
basic understandings of each rule. And like, one of the major ones was, and the most important one to him, was gratitude. And I was like, wow, this is fitting. Especially, in this year, I'm so excited for people to read this book.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's good or not.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
I'm sure it's good.
But the first book was good. I know this guy. I know he's been pouring a lot into this, but I'm excited for people to get an understanding of gratitude. Because I know when I've been more grateful for my life, I've been less depressed.
Yeah.
When I've been more grateful for my life, I've had less anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
When I've been more grateful for my life, my marriage has gone better.
Mm-hmm.
My parenting has been better. Because I think when you're grateful for what you have, it removes a lot of barriers for you to grow.
Yeah.
And for you to get better and for you to really develop in your life. So... anyways,
that's a good point.
Yeah. Anything else?
No. I mean, I'm just thinking of gratitude and how I'm going to teach my kids that.
Be more grateful. Be more grateful. Yeah, no, it's true. Teach your kids.
I'm like, is that something that's natural or is that taught? I feel like it's definitely taught and it's very hard to teach.
And how much of a tactic, I don't like that word particularly, but it's the only one I could think of, would it be if we use gratitude to shift conversations with people and say, hey, how about we not focus on the election anymore? Hey, how about we not focus on whatever? You fill in the blank with whatever negative thing that's going on in our country right now.
I've seen people do that.
Really?
And they do it really well. And unfortunately, they did it with me. So I was the one being negative Nancy, I guess.
Well,
but I remember. It's
good though. You remember it.
There's one person specifically who does it a lot, and she's awesome. And but it's like it's and she doesn't mean it this way at all. But it's kind of convicting to me.
Yeah, should be a little bit
because I'm like, oh man, I'm being yucky again.
Because like you said from the beginning, it's so easy to be negative.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard.
And people usually just go along with you, so you don't even notice. But she's always just like, but God has been so good, or whatever it is, some positive thing. And I'm like, you're right. Why am I complaining?
Let's do it. I'm tired of talking about I'm not going to stop talking about stuff that's important and stuff that needs to be talked about.
Right. Because that's important too.
But at the same time,
if you're trying to find a solution
in my personal life and in the lives of people that I'm in a relationship with, you know, in my marriage, in, you know, my conversations with my kids, I want to point them to gratitude.
Yeah.
I want to be talking about things that I'm grateful for in my life. I want them to know I'm grateful for them.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to know I'm so grateful for our house. And I want them to see their dad living a life of gratitude.
I think that's what wears off.
Yeah. And I want to see that with my friends too. I think we can do more things, be more productive, and just have deeper, fuller, more happy relationships if it's built on gratitude. So let's end it there. All right, guys. I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving, or if this comes out on Friday, I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving, and we will see you on a later episode. Hit that subscribe bell. I didn't stutter. That was a rap. Hit that subscribe bell if you're on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts. If you're on Apple Podcasts, I don't really ask for this very much, but leave a review. Give us a 5-star, nothing less than 5 stars because they don't count. And we'll see you on a later episode. All right, guys. Bye.